Alrighty, so I love the ineptitude of several GOP lawmakers. I do. I really do. Because sometimes they completely screw up their law in an effort to screw up their law. You know, in Tennessee, when they tried to make a new super special version of marriage that just happened to include child marriage. Oh, don't worry. They just slipped it in there. Just slipped it in. Just the tip of child marriage. Just a little bit of child marriage was in that bill. And they had to backpedal on it when they were given a shit ton of actual scrutiny. All right, cool. Put a pin in that. We have another one of those fun examples. We have another one of those ones. But first, let's get into the fan art section. This one is from Call Me Queer. Got a new tablet and did a thing. Usually I don't add backgrounds, but this time I did as practice. There's a slime Suris mat, and I love it. I love this. I love this mat. It looks cool. The next one we have here is from Godless Bob. Slime Suris monument on the beach. It is my tribute. A shrine to summon the slime. You know, that looks like a particular word that I don't like, but it does look like it. It does look like it. Funny how both are beach-themed. Yeah. Funny how this one is also on the wrong side of a conflict that's been waging for centuries. As always, everybody, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, let's go ahead and get right into the content. So, Wyoming has an abortion ban that got blocked because of an Obama-era amendment. Abortion is legal in Wyoming again because the GOP are inept. Abortion is legal in Wyoming again. Oddly, as a result of a state constitutional amendment pushed by conservatives that were opposed to Obamacare more than a decade ago. I love it when my cat jumps on my pizza box and creates chaos. Teton County District Court Judge Melissa Owens, in a ruling Wednesday, temporarily blocked enforcement of the state's newly enacted abortion ban that took effect Sunday. Owens' decision pointed to a 2012 amendment to the state constitution that granted Wyoming citizens the right to make their own healthcare decisions. Wyoming voters overwhelmingly passed that amendment, which was intended to protect them from hypothetical harms contained in the then-President Barack Obama's signatured health law, the Affordable Care Act. Anti-abortion lawmakers in Wyoming have tried to work around the 2012 amendment in passing a ban on abortion. The state's sweeping ban, dubbed Life is a Human Right Act, claims that abortion is not a form of healthcare. It is. Instead of being healthcare, abortion is the intentional termination of the life of an unborn baby. That's not a bug, that's a feature, my guy. The termination of the life of the unborn is healthcare for the already born. That's what it is. The act says, and it explicitly targets the anti-Obamacare amendment in the Constitution. The ban prohibits abortion in most circumstances, providing exceptions for incest, sexual assault, and cases of lethal fetal anomaly, or when the pregnant person's life is in danger. Violation of the law is a felony and carries penalties up to 5 years in prison and a $20,000 fine. $20,000 fine or 5 years in prison. You know, for something that is unilaterally considered healthcare by medical professionals. Owens, in her ruling Wednesday, said the state legislature overstepped its authority to declare that abortion is not healthcare when there may be evidence to show that it is. The legislature cannot make an end runaround, essentially providing a constitutional amendment. She said that during a hearing on Wednesday, according to a New York Times report. Owens added that the state cannot legislate away a constitutional right. It is not clear if abortion is or isn't healthcare. The court has to then decide that. So because they have an anti-Obamacare amendment that says that a person has the right to anything healthcare related in regards to their own body, they can't ban healthcare. They either get the Affordable Care Act or they get the abortion ban. Currently, they can't have both, the way that the law's written. Sucks to suck. Sucks to shoot yourself in the own foot. That's a y'all problem. Sucks that y'all can't read. I was not aware that most of the GOP, played Yu-Gi-Oh. But Now that we know they're all Yu-Gi-Oh players, we understand why they can't read. She also told Jay Jerde, a special assistant attorney general for Wyoming who is defending the law for the state, "I'm just still hung up on abortion not being healthcare," the Times reported. An abortion can only be performed by a licensed medical professional, so what authority does the legislature have to declare that abortion isn't healthcare when our laws only allow a licensed medical professional to administer one? Owen's decision pauses the abortion ban until further court proceedings in a lawsuit challenging it. It's unclear whether the court will ultimately agree that the anti-Obamacare amendment prohibits a state abortion ban. The constitutional amendment contains language that might allow the ban to take effect. The amendment said that the state legislature may determine reasonable and necessary restrictions on the rights granted by the amendment. Isn't it funny when they're like, well, we didn't like Obamacare, so we gave ourselves a bunch of human rights, but we might have to limit those human rights so that we can limit these other human rights. It might be really important to have a deep philosophical discussion about which human rights we actually are okay with and which human rights we're going to disallow so that we can restrict other human rights. I am the GOP of 2023. I have one brain cell, and not the cute one. Across other states, constitutional amendments have become unlikely weapons in the fight against restrictions on abortion. For instance, a judge in Ohio in October temporarily blocked the state's abortion ban because of a constitutional provision adopted in 2011 as a backlash to Obamacare. In South Carolina, the Supreme Court struck down the state's abortion ban after 6 weeks, ruling that it violated the right to privacy in the state's constitution. Similarly, a Florida judge in June temporarily paused the ban on abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy because it violated the state's constitutional right to privacy. Again, we need to figure out which human rights we're allowed to violate so that we can violate these other human rights. Those actions represent a broader shift in the legal battle over abortion rights after the Supreme Court in June 2022 overturned the half-century-old Roe v. Wade ruling. After that, abortion rights were largely left up to individual states. Some states rushed to ban procedures completely, while others gradually rolled out new restrictions. Most abortions are now banned in more than a dozen states, including Texas, Idaho, Wisconsin, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and West Virginia. Most everything else in here is just either talking about Obamacare or talking about what we already know about Roe v. Wade being taken away. But I think the real takeaway here is that as the GOP attempts to legislate the handmaid's tale happening more often in the United States, they constantly trip over themselves and their individual rights they try to push for. I think it's really funny, personally, because when you are sitting here as a politician trying to do things that your base, your constituents, really want you to do, and the thing they really want you to do is restrict the rights that women have over their bodies, you end up finding yourself in this weird spot where you're like, you know, I really want to help you out here. I really want to help you in violating women's rights. I want to help you out there. And, yeah, we get it, but there's this right to privacy. And if you're just okay with us getting rid of some of your rights to privacy, then we can then go violate these women's rights. I mean, that's what you want, right? That's what you want, and the GOP will, of course, eat this shit up. They will. Anything to save the children. Anything at all, even if it makes no sense, is not backed up by data, and actually violates other people's human rights in the process. Anything for the grift. But this is where I throw it back to you guys. How do you feel about all this? I think it's hilarious. I think it shows just classic mega levels of ineptitude and inability to forwardly think from the GOP in this particular case. Let me know in your comment section below how you feel about it. Let me know what your thoughts and feelings are. And as always, everybody, you can have a little human rights violations as a treat. I mean, thank you for that one, Wingcaster. Insert end of video tagline here.